Now I got a whole video explaining why I put so many scoops in my protein shake each morning, but let's go over it again. Today we're going to talk about protein, but specifically the misguided notion that you can only absorb so much in one iteration. We're going to talk about nitrogen balance, and we're going to talk about recommendations for daily total protein requirement and why really that's the main thing that you should be concerned with. First of all, we know protein's a macronutrient, 4 calories per gram, and it's made up of its component amino acids. Now what protein does in the body is maintain a positive nitrogen balance. This is required for a lot of positive things to happen in the body, such as healing, and of course muscle growth, which is directly related to your healing / immune response. Does more protein equal more muscle growth? It can, to a point, and that point is roughly 3.2 grams per kilogram body weight. Past that point, there's really no additional effect from more protein, because again, the point is to maintain that positive nitrogen balance, and your training is really the primary driver of muscle growth. It's the trigger to use that protein for the anabolic process. Protein is not an anabolic androgenic steroid. It's not going to cause growth just by itself. I mean, it's true, there is a, nominal leucine trigger that has some, marginal growth stimulus, but the primary driver of growth is the training. The protein just provides the environment in which that growth is able to happen. And then of course, the entire process requires energy, which is why carbohydrates are not only anti-catabolic, but also anabolic. Okay, so earlier I said the upper range of protein recommendations is 3.2 grams per kilogram. The lower range is roughly around 1.8. So if you don't want to speak metric like the rest of the world and speak imperial, you could just do simple math and say like 0.7 grams per pound on the low end, up to 1.5 to 2 grams per pound on the high end. More protein doesn't necessarily mean more muscle growth, but because of the satiety factor, and it's only 4 kilocalories per gram, and you can do some gymnastics to make some energy out of it, if you're going to overeat any macronutrient, protein's probably the one that you want to do. Okay, so let's get back to why I have so much protein in that one shake in the morning. So this infographic is a representation of the previous assumption of how protein absorption worked versus the new understanding of how protein absorption works. The two takeaways from this are, number one, the quote-unquote anabolic window is not as critical as we previously thought it was, and number two, more than 30 grams isn't wasted because we can only absorb so much at one time. In fact, it's now understood that more than spreading your protein requirement out over multiple meals, that really only matters insofar as the convenience of being able to consume however much protein you need. Me, as a 72 kilogram person, I need, call it 160 grams of protein a day. Well, shoot, I'll just cram 120 grams in my 8 scoop shake at the beginning of the day, post training, when I am marginally better set up to make use of it, since it is not only my first meal of the day, my break fast, so to speak, but is also my post training meal since I train early in the morning. And then basically by eating anything the rest of the day, I'll for sure make my daily protein requirement. Now, if I were a 300-pound IFBB pro, I would probably need a lot more than just even that one massive shake. And so multiple large protein feedings would be in order. Maybe like 2 of those shakes and then 3 large meals. But the previous wisdom of, okay, there's 30 grams in a chicken breast and I need 300 grams of protein, so I need 10 individual chicken breast meals separated by an hour and a half to 3 hours. That's unnecessarily complicating things. If at the end of the day you hit your total protein requirement so that there's plenty in your amino acid pool and you have a positive nitrogen balance, when you go to sleep and are actively recovering, you'll be fine whether you do that in, 1 meal, 2 meals, 5 meals, 7 meals, or 10 meals. Now, going back to the anabolic window, if you're somebody like me who gets up and trains, so I'm ostensibly fasted, although not really because I have plenty of muscle and liver glycogen, there may be some marginal benefit in aggregate to have my protein feeding closer to the cessation of that training. But again, it's marginal at best. What's important is that you get in your total daily protein requirement of between 1.8 and 3.2 grams per kilogram in whatever means work best for your lifestyle and your personal psychology. I'm not a very large person, so I don't want to have to eat a ton of food to meet my protein requirements. I can have a massive shake in the morning and then basically a small lunch, what most people would consider a snack, and then a decent, very satisfying dinner, and have plenty of energy for work and the gym, and continue to make improvements in my performance and my physique. So all that to say, there's a lot of different ways you can do this, folks. I've found this method to be wildly successful even before the research came out to substantiate it. And that's why I make sure my post-training shake is crammed to the top with 6 to 8 scoops every morning. Thanks for watching.